Hello, I'm Paul. Welcome to MIG Monday. Today I want to talk about cleanliness of the contact tip and the gas nozzle and a couple of related things. We've been doing a little welding. We have a little bit of spatter buildup on this nozzle and the contact tip, and I just kind of want to show you some of the things you might encounter during the course of welding. Let's do the contact tip. I don't know if you can see in there in this, with a close-up, there's a little bit of spatter buildup inside around the nozzle there. You know, all you need to do, just clean that out a little bit, and you're good as new. If you don't do that, what can happen over a period of time is that spatter builds upon the spatter, and in severe cases, it can actually interfere with the gas flow and compromise the quality of your weld. The other place that spatter can build up is on the contact tip itself. Now on here, you can see we have a little bit, you see a little piece hanging on the side over here. Again, this isn't so much the interference with the gas flow as it can be interference with the feeding of the wire, because it sticks to the metal of the contact tip, and if it sticks close to the exit hole for the wire, that can interfere with the feeding. And again, it's just a matter of a wire brush it, and it comes right off. I don't know if you can tell the difference now, okay? Now, typically this isn't going to be too much of a problem if you keep an eye on it, because it does take some time for this to build up to, especially to build up to the amounts that are going to be problematic. There are aftermarket parts or things such as this anti-spatter spray, and typically what you do is you just spray the issues that are going to come in contact with spatter. You let it dry for a few seconds, so that, you know, before you try to weld or anything. And then one spray of this should last for a good long while. I think they say up to 8 hours on the can. And then you're good to go, right? So that's one thing to do as far as prevention of bad quality welding. And while I got this all here out, the other thing I want to touch on is stick out. How much, and what I mean stick out, is how much of the wire extends from the end of the contact tip. For most of the welding that you're going to encounter around the shop, we're going to say that the length that the wire should stick out from the contact tip is somewhere between 1/4 of an inch and maybe about 3/8 of an inch. You just maintain that distance, and you shouldn't have too much trouble in making a quality weld. You get too short, it gets hot, you're going to have more chance to melt the contact tip, cause yourself feeding problems. You get too long, you're going to get stubbing and not a very good arc, and again, you're going to compromise the quality of your weld. So somewhere between 1/4 of an inch and 3/8 of an inch. And just as a kind of an aside, when I talk about stick out, my preference is I am talking about the distance from the end of the contact tip to the end of the wire. There is a school of thought, or some people, when they say that stick out, they talk about the length of the wire plus the length of the arc from the end of the wire to the work. So it's just a matter of what school you're in there. But like I said, my preference is just looking at the length of the wire, because that's so much easier to keep a constant judgment on that. And for those of you guys that switch over from stick welding to MIG welding, one of the things that you have to overcome is the tendency, when you're stick welding, of course, the stick melts and becomes part of the weld metal, so you constantly have to compensate for that stick electrode melting by moving your hand constantly towards the work. When you're MIG welding, the wire does the moving. You should maintain a steady distance and not feed in. And that's one of the bigger challenges that people that switch from stick welding to MIG welding have to learn, is not to push in towards the weld metal. Let the wire do the feeding. You don't have to do that. Pretty convenient. All right, so hopefully your knowledge now of keeping your equipment clean, spatter-free, proper electrical stick out will help you do better welds, and in the future have less welding problems. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on MIG Monday next time around. Well, if you learned something today or like what you saw, please feel free to subscribe and keep an eye out for new episodes every MIG Monday.